So I said AKA Midnightrabbi. Why Midnightrabbi? Right? Why is he known as Midnightrabbi? So for many years, my friend, the Blazer, for many years, he was a Rebbe in yeshiva, but not just a normal Rebbe. He was the Midnight Rebbe. Which is a Midnight Rebbe. So he has a special connection with neshamas who have a lot of struggles in life, whether it be drugs, whether it be going through issues with alcohol and stuff like that. So there are certain types of yeshivas who are geared more towards that type of neshama, that type of student. And so that type of neshama during the day, a lot of the guys aren't there in the class because they stayed up the whole night, right? They're staying up the whole night, whatever they're doing, and then during the day, they're sleeping. So the Rebbe's, their teachers used to come to class during the day with like nobody there, nobody in the classroom, because they're sleeping. So those guys get up at like 9, 10 p.m. And midnight comes, the Midnightrabbi comes in the yeshiva and he makes a whole big shir and a whole big matzah of simcha. So again, it is a big schus to have you here with us to bring some inspiration.
I want to thank Ari because Rabbi Goldschmiedt, which is funny we have the same name, is that in terms of family, mishpacha, so people think maybe we're family. The truth is we're all family. That's an important thing. And someone just asked me for a kappa, and I just suddenly remembered, why don't I have a kappa? Because I have a story. I mean, I could have gone and bought another one, but this story was 10 years ago. And I wanted to make an album, and I was newly married. And I come from a background of musicians and family who are in the music business and put on the biggest shows in history, like Live Earth, Live Aid. My uncle's called R Goldschmiedt. He's a famous promoter. My brothers and my father are more behind the scenes. They do I'm the only one that didn't follow in that, in that way. But I thought if I came to Eretz Yisrael, that I can't just leave my past behind. In fact, I even got a compliment today, which I don't mind sharing. And the reason why I want to share it is because, this is a time Elul, it's a time of tshuva, and this is when I first came to Shiva about 16 years ago. And I came from a very secular background, not yet from, as they say, and they're very good people, special people. And after a few years, it's about, how do I bring with me my past, my talents, my contacts, and incorporate it into my Jewish life. So one thing it's important is to have a friend like Rabbi Goldschmiedt here, who's very much able to do that himself. So he's a big example of this vibe, of being able to be real and incorporate yourself, which I'm sure you know yourself. I don't need to tell you that. But so it's not only important to have good friends, but it's also important for yourself to realize. We'll just keep it quick. That you have all these talents and all these special parts of you that, when you're taking on a certain change in lifestyle or change in time period where you have to grow in work or business, or for example in yeshiva like I had, and what do I do with the guitar? So I refused to pack it away. That was the first thing. Even though Rabbi is putting pressure, you'll come back to the guitar later on, I was like, no. And I jammed, and it kept me alive in yeshiva, literally, because not only doing Ma'asim Tovim, doing Chesed, which is a big part of, Ma'asim Tovim is a tremendous thing to do, especially with El coming up. People forget that part, It's, they do tshuva, they learn, they daven, but there's also the Ma'asim Tovim. I'm involved with charity and things like this, very important to do Ma'asim Tovim.
And Reb Blazer's father is very much involved in the music world, very well known in England, around the world. So he arranges for the Olympics.
Yeah, he did Olympics recently.
Things like that in wrestling.
And so I even went to a Jeff Beck show, Hashem should forgive me, a few years ago, with Shine. The rapper Shine drove me there. That was really funny. He thought he was a chassid, maybe he is, I don't know. We only talk good about people. So he maybe he's a chassid inside, but we all have a chassid inside. Look what happened to me. No, but anyway, the point is, so how do I get this guitar and music of me into my life? So one way I was making kumzits like we're doing tonight. I did many kumzits in yeshiva days, and when I left the yeshiva, they said there's no one really filled the space. That was an awesome air all those years ago, and when I came to the blessing of getting married, finding my shidduch and my zivug, my soulmate, she loved my music. She got to make an album, and thank God, I managed to find the fundings, and I made an album in Beis Tafus, which is where I was last night, funny enough, in a studio there by a guy called Jeff Horowitz, done lots of Jewish music, and I was on my way there with my guitar case in the back, and the taxi driver was talking and distracting me and making a whole story. And when I got out of the car, he drove off with all my equipment, all my songs, all my years of work, a beautiful book of all my songs, handwritten, with a lot of care, and journeys I went on with it, and everything was gone. And I chased him. I went out to a police car. I said, "Get him!" And they said, "What?" They were drinking their coffee, oblivious. I was like, "No, this guy just stole. He's driving. You can see him. He's still going." They just ignored it, and that was it. I walked away, and I was like, "I'm about to record. This is my first night in the studio. I've been dreaming about this my whole life. Opportunity to record in the studio." And what happened? I said to Hashem, "I got to go ahead," and that's really my message. You got to go ahead. You're gonna have struggles. Life is like that, and Hashem wants us to go ahead. And I did, Baruch Hashem, and there was a guitar, Naftali Amberson, you remember him? Abramson, yeah. He's a good musician, so thank you for correcting the name. So he happened to be recording his album Todah at that time, which is interesting, thank you. And I said thank you, because he had his guitar lying around. He had no other music, and it was a miracle. He said, "I just left it by accident in the studio. I took his guitar, it was an average guitar, and he let me record my whole album on his guitar." And funny enough, when I made a show at the Great Synagogue, he was one of the special guests on the panel to go about the bands. He was on the panel, so he got years later, when I arranged an event for over 12 yeshivas and 3 well-known bands. Laser Lloyd was there, and the Solomon Brothers, and from the Moshav, and it was a good big show. It went on, as you can Google it, Midnightrabbi, or whatever you want to call it, Unity Band's concert, and it was just interesting how he was there then, and it was there then. And you see how this is the main message, with music there's a flow, and this is what I've said at many yeshivas. There's a flow in the gunim, there's ashkacha pratis, and instead of ever stopping the song and, God forbid, giving up, you have to take that and keep going, and keep singing.
We're gonna do the breast of the Chadodi.
Okay.